Hi, Kevin, Property Soldier here. So, welcome. Today, I'm going to be interviewing Scotty Hodson. Say hi, Scotty.
Hi, Scotty.
And some of you will be watching this live, and some of you will be watching the recording, the replay of this. And also, this will go out as an episode on my podcast, the Serviced Accommodation Property Podcast. And so you will have the opportunity, if you're watching this live, to ask any questions as we go through this interview. And so if you do, I will then feed the questions to Scotty if the questions are for Scotty, and obviously I'll answer those if they are my own. If you're watching this on replay, then by all means still ask any questions that you've got, and both myself and Scotty can jump back on there and answer any questions if you're watching on replay. So yeah, by all means, ask away, and we will endeavour to answer any questions that you may have. So, Scotty Hodson,
Yo.
you we met nearly 2.5 years ago now at Progressive Property, where I was doing a Discovery Day event, and so that's where you sort of first decided to get into serviced accommodation. But what were you doing prior to that? Or, what were you doing at the time, have done been since, and tell us about your background, learn about service accommodation and moving into service accommodation, and what's going on with you now, because you've got some pretty exciting stuff going on. I'm sure people watching and listening will be interested to know all about your journey in SA.
Pretty crazy. Yeah. So, in 2018, as you said, walked into this room and was pretty intimidated by this strapping fellow at the front of the room. Chiseled looks, wit and charm. And I fell through his really bad dad joke straight away. So he had me laughing. Straight away. So at the time, it was over a weekend as well, which was quite precious to me, because of I was gigging at the time. So I was on digital contract. My background has been developing digital products and running global e-commerce programs. So that is where my skill was at, the digital world, and developing different customer journeys and digital products. So that was me. It was quite fast paced. It wasn't a lifestyle I designed. I didn't want to be doing it. I was traveling 3-4 hours a day into London and back out again, doing a day's graft, and all of that jazz, and then getting back when it's dark, 7-8 o'clock at night. Barely saw my kids before they went to bed. And then rinse and repeat, right? So it was very unsustainable, and I wasn't happy. I love doing the digital stuff because that really turns me on, and I should imagine by the end of this interview you'll realise that the digital stuff and the innovation stuff really turns me on. That's my flow. That's my bag. Can you hear my dog in the background? Yeah, sorry about that.
Well, at least
Teddy. Teddy, excuse me, we're live. He's going to scratch again. He's just finding a safe spot. So I knew that I wanted to change in my life, and I always knew that there was a calling in property investment. I knew that I was going to be moving that way, and that was just at the right time in my life that I was going to be doing it. So fast-paced week, exchanging lots of time for quite a bit of money. And that was the trap, right? That was the trap I needed to get out of. I needed to replace that income, which was, quite hefty, for all of the hours that I was putting in. So when I found SA, didn't really know of it before, and realised that it can be a high cash flowing property strategy. I was like, Shating, yeah, that's me. SA is my bag. And I took all of my, learnings from 20 years of developing digital products and stuff, and thought to myself, that is an industry that is crying out for a little bit of love, care, and innovation. So that gave me the confidence that I knew I could get into this space, test it, and then just go from there, really. So yeah, that was my start in 2018. Then it's taken me to now, so 2 years of just slowly, getting a little bit better every day. I suppose that's my philosophy, and my, just turn up every day and get a little bit better. That's it.
So I've heard you, we know each other quite well now. We've obviously, myself and Caroline and you and Jax have been out. We've been out for dinner and drinks and coffees and all those things. We've got to know you both really well, and been out to the farm as well, haven't we? But you talk about exchanging time for money and then not being any quality of life, and so that's a trap that an awful lot of people find themselves falling into, and just work harder and harder, and then you're losing you're not seeing your kids growing up and just no quality of life. So earning good money but no quality of life. So you obviously recognize that SA was a way of creating recurring income from property, and so you identified that you could perhaps not rely on the normal rat race but create some recurring income from property. So you did the training and then decided to go into what form of SA to start with, and so tell us a little bit about that, but then what that's led you to.
Yeah, well, I've already used the phrase of testing, so I didn't know. So you've mentioned the farm there. So we bought a farm and we've moved onto a farm in a new area. I'm originally from South London. Now we're in North Beds, rural North Beds. And we don't know the area, we don't know the towns, we don't know what's hot, where's the gold mines or whatever. We knew one pub and that was it, and we got pretty tired of chips after a few weeks. So we knew that we had to test that in an area. We couldn't really go out and buy a property and turn it into serviced accommodation. So we used the rent to SA strategy that you went through on the discovery and the subsequent training, and our avatar. So by going through the training and doing the due diligence, we realized that there was a potential, especially in Bedford, of an executive market. So our avatar was very much white collar. So that's the people that we try to attract, and we wanted to test that. And fortunately, we've been able to put together an executive product that sells. And I've been on a little bit of a mental journey with that as well. We might come back to that, but so we go for an executive market. And we always do well in the executive market, but it seems that we're priced quite competitively as well. So we do attract the blue collars as well, and they love coming to stay with us. And they're the bit of people for our long-term guests as well. So we've hit a bit of a sweet spot with Bedford, being its fastest train into London is 35 minutes. There's lots of development going on. There's £7 billion going to be spent on a new west to east train line from Oxford to Cambridge, and Bedford is right in the middle of it. There's new distribution centres straight on to the A421. So if you basically turn left, it's the M1. You turn right, it's the A1. So all of essentially this e-commerce infrastructure that's going up around the country, Bedford is really positioned well for it. So we know the clientele. We know that there's going to be contractors in the area. They're building 1,000 new homes just in one strip in south of Bedford. So we know that there's lots of things going on, lots of money being spent on infrastructure. So we started off with rent to SA, and it started selling, which I was always surprised at.
What do you mean you were surprised? It's all bloody hell, this work.
Exactly, it's that right? It can't be this simple. Do your due diligence. develop a product and of a room and then stick it up onto the online travel agents or the OTAs, and people come and they book and they give you money. So I went on a little bit of a yeah. So that feeling when that first shating hits the account is pretty amazing. That is a bit of a sweet spot, and you always promise that on your training, and when that actually starts, you're like, all right, okay.
And the vibration, money's landing in your bank account, and you get a nice vibration in your pocket at the same time. So
you pervert.
Yeah. So rent to SA via letting agent or direct to landlord to start with, or both, or?
Yeah. So funny enough, the one friend that I had made in my new location where we moved to was an ex-estate agent, and he's still a director of it essentially. So he referred me to his estate agent, and we practiced, and we got our first one there. So sort of like leveraged that relationship of trust and friendship to be able to get our first one. So very fortunate in that, because I didn't have to stomp the streets or have lots of awkward conversations with estate agents, not knowing who we are or what we did or whatever, which again was a big battle for me in my head as well, which was, who's going to invest in this new business? It's unproven. Who will buy it? It's unproven. The location is unproven. I struggled with that, but
some people
it works.
Some people go straight in. Their first properties are from estate agents, etc. So that's obviously one of the things that we cover with people, how to do that. So one of the things that you do sort of say you were a little bit reticent to be, throwing yourself out there, but you actually have done a fair bit of that, speaking to everybody, and so that's ultimately what led you to Shakespeare, that house. Tell us a little bit about that. I want to know, because my favourite subject, about the capital allowances, what that project might end up being, and what
Yeah.
Always,
Sure.
I love it when the landlord's got more properties and they tell us a bit about that. There's lots of key learnings for people here.
Yeah, definitely. So this was actually our third property. So I'd been able to get 2 from our first estate agent and prove that it works. So I was like pretty confident. So then I started telling all of the people that I was working with or coming into contact, I'm a property investor, and that was the first thing, first time you call yourself a property investor. And my builder who comes to my farm, I said, this is what we're doing and it's working all right. People are paying money for this. All right. And he goes, oh, right. Yeah, I do some work in Bedford, and for a landlord, I look after his big HMO in North Bedford. I went, all right. Okay, brilliant. Is there any possibility of, having some pizza? And he was going, yeah, I think there is actually. Didn't quite get to pizza because he's a bit of a cheapskate builder. We got round a plastic table with some Walker's crisps and some lemonade, and spoke to the landlord. And the landlord was like, well, the HMO is the HMO. It's the main building. It's like an 18-bed HMO, but behind that, it's an old hotel. So behind the HMO is essentially manager's accommodation. It's a 2-bed bungalow. So we were able to rent that bungalow from him and convert it into serviced accommodation. And it's been a cash cow for us ever since. Now, the view of that was to build a relationship, build trust with the landlord, and then go into the 18-bed HMO. And that's still the current plan.
But not
we'll
to run
get to that
as a HMO, though. Not to run as a HMO, but the plan with that is well, you tell everyone. Yeah,
just to turn that 18-bed HMO into it possibly being a 25-unit SA, because of he's additionally got planning permission behind the building for 5 additional apartments. So it's going to be a very good project. unfortunately, he's been distracted. So we agreed this deal probably this time last year. So it was actually October 2019 we agreed the deal, and unfortunately he's had other deals go south. So his time and brain space has been elsewhere. But we're still in the game. The plan is still going forward, and he has, said that we'll move forward with something in the new year. So hopefully, fingers crossed that'll work out.
Well, he's got a lot of property, hasn't he? So the thing with the capital allowances, so when you're running the property as serviced accommodation,
yes, sir.
And so I went in there and put in kitchenettes in the ensuite rooms and stuff like that. So all the good stuff, turn it into an apart hotel. Roughly, what are the capital allowances that he's going to be able to get his hands on? So you've had a capital allowance surveyor do an analysis of the building, and so roughly what are those capital allowances going to be for the owner once you are using it as service accommodation? Because this is so important. When people say, how am I going to get my hands on SA? When you can create a win-win situation, that's when. So what are those capital allowances looking like?
Well, he nearly fell off his chair when he realised this. So he can claim capital allowances on the purchase of that old hotel that he's turned into an HMO, and the refurb or the fixtures and fittings of what he's needed to spend to turn it from a hotel to a HMO. Obviously, we'll be turning it into an SA. So as soon as he turns it into an SA, he can make that capital allowance claim, and it will be in the region of £400,000. So him as a landlord, sitting there with an 18-bed HMO, doing all right, clearing 10, 12 grand a month, then gets capital allowance claim for 400 grand. It changes the game, doesn't it? It goes from being all right, you can work with this property to this is a serious game that we're playing, and will have a huge impact on him because we'll take it from his site there, and he's got subsequent other sites as well around the country. So it's quite exciting.
It is, and just for people that don't appreciate the significance of this, that means that he will be earning more money from the property with you running it as service accommodation. So you managing it, so he doesn't have to manage a HMO anymore. You will manage it as SA. You will obviously earn a nice income from it because the property is going to be turning over a lot of money. Mm-hmm. He will get more money than he would have been getting with it as a HMO. He no longer has tenants, etc. So we know what's going on with tenants at the moment, tenant eviction bans and all of those sort of stuff.
None of those horrible things.
Yeah. And so £400,000, and also he will be able to get sideways relief on that 400 grand, which means that he can actually offset that against any other income that he's got coming in of any other source. Yeah. And so effectively he can earn 400 grand tax free. So if he's an additional rate taxpayer, higher rate or additional rate taxpayer, that's an awful lot of money, an awful lot of tax free money for him. And he only gets his hands on it if he's got somebody that knows what they're doing with service accommodation. And a lot of people say, well, why won't someone do it themselves? Well, why do letting agents exist? People don't want to be managing properties themselves. And he won't have the first idea of how to run a service accommodation business, where to get the bookings from, the cleaning, the laundry, working with all the different companies that we'll talk about this in a minute, where you get your clients from and all those types of things, marketing the property. People just don't know any of that stuff. Mm-hmm. So even if they did have an appetite for knowing it, how are they going to learn it? Where are they going to learn it from? Well, obviously they could come to me, but you're clearly not going to do that. But so I just wanted to dispel the myth for people that they always think, well, won't the person just want to do it themselves? Well, they just haven't got sometimes the appetite or the knowledge and skills to do it themselves.
They'll probably think about it and then just go, no, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, and if you had that mindset anyway, you would never get any deals, because you would never speak to anyone about SA and taking their property as SA, just in case they decided to go and do it themselves. So actually, it's just a case of nothing ventured, nothing gained, and more often than not, I find that people don't want to do it themselves. So, how many other properties has this guy got then that he's interested in giving you once he's sorted out his current issues?
Yeah, it's 19 in Watford, and 42 in Northampton, I think. And then he's got another site, but I can't quote you numbers on that. I didn't prior. I think I went into a bit of a haze after the first lot.
So it's millions. It's millions of pounds worth of capital allowances that he can get his hands on, and offset those capital allowances against all of his income streams, basically, if he's wise enough to view the properties to use as SA. So you can just meet one person that can completely change the game. But you're not putting all your eggs in that basket. See what I did there? See what I did? Talk about free range days, your brand. But
that's why I love you, Kevin.
I know. I'm such a lovable guy, right? But so, what else have you got going on? Because you're not just focusing on that and just waiting and looking at your watch. You're cracking on other stuff. What else have you got going on, Scotty?
Yeah, sure. Well, maybe just to finish off that last loop as well, because we were talking about that wonderful thing, capital allowances, and a new thing that we've learned recently about the enhanced capital allowances as well, which again, with the stuff that I'm working on, is really, really attractive. So enhanced capital allowances basically allows you to claim a lot more of a percentage of what you're spending on, if you're making it sustainable, if you're making it eco-efficient, if you're making offsetting your carbon and stuff like that, which is because we will be building on behalf of that landlord that we just spoke about, he may be eligible for enhanced capital allowances. So that 400 grand will just grow overnight just by using us as a preferred partner, which would be a good decision, I think.
Because you're going to do the modular builds around the back.
That's right. Yeah. So my build partners do zero admission developments. So they're eco modular building, and they're just wonderful. They're just essentially big pieces of Lego. They're factory built in the UK, and they come on the crane and you plop them down on the ground. You bolt them all together in one day, and then you move in the next. So that is the space that I'm working in at the moment. Looking for suitable sites to do more eco-serviced apartments or eco-apart hotels, whatever you want to coin it as, for the reasons that we've just spoke about. It cash flows, it's quick, and there's loads of enhanced capital allowances. So it's just crazy.
It is crazy, yeah. It's just such it's almost like a loophole, right? To
it feels like that.
Situations to open things up. It's a game changer.
Yeah, definitely. Well, going back to that first training day with you, yes, I knew it was a cash flow thing, but I can remember sitting there going, well, I really haven't got the time. I'm doing 80 hours a week or whatever. I really haven't got the time to build a buy to let portfolio here. How I can't do flips. I've got an hour and a half a day to build a business.
Because some of the other trainers were talking about that stuff, right?
I can't use those as strategies. And then it was like serviced accommodation. What you can spin this up. You don't need a lot of essential cash to start this up, and you can outsource it and systemize it. And okay, I think I can do that in an hour and a half a day. Thank you very much.
Yeah, cool. Because again, what people don't appreciate is actually you can completely leverage an SA management company as well. So people with their own properties, they can hand it over to an SA management company. So this is what that landlord's doing with you. People that want to go out and potentially do rent to SA, they can just hand that straight over to an SA management company as well. And so actually it's a lot easier to create recurring income than people initially think. People think it's either buy to let or HMO. That's how you get recurring income. And if people don't fancy having tenants and going through all that, a lot of people got this perception on you've got to buy, refurbish, refinance, go down the tenant route. That's how you get recurring income. Well, yes, that is, but SA is another way of doing it. Absolutely. Yeah. So let's talk about the other stuff that you've got going on right now, because you've got some other products that you're bringing into the mix. Let's go.
Yeah, cool. So not only about the eco stuff, the eco modular building stuff, that's really, really sexy and innovative. And as I said at the top of the show, that's the space that I like to work in, which is sometimes a blessing, sometimes a curse. And sometimes you've had to tell me off and tell me to stay focused, which I appreciate. Thank you very much. But as I said, when I was sitting down in that training, I knew that SA was an industry that is crying out for a little bit of innovation and diversification. So straight away I was going, right, okay, so I pay a commission to the online travel agent to place this person in my property that they want to stay there. Great. What can I do to essentially extend the lifetime value of that person? So I've paid that 15% commission, but I'm going to pay that in good faith. I think they do a fantastic job, and they put heads on beds, let's say. But what can we do to actually make it worthwhile paying that commission? So that's where my e-commerce skills come in. And so from my background, we started thinking about, okay, what can we actually do to retail to people pre-stay, during stay, and after stay to increase our revenue? So we started retailing in-stay products to increase our revenues, and that's what we've done. I'm very fortunate and blessed to have a not only gorgeous wife, she's quite creative and wonderful as well. She's developed some organic spa products, so we provide those as welcome gifts for each of our guests. And I've got to say now, as soon as we started doing that, about 3-4 months ago, every review that we've had since has been 5 stars. So anybody leaving a review has been 5 stars. So there's an immediate impact on that because of the thoughtfulness that we put into the welcome gift. Because the gift was actually designed to help people chill out and sleep. So it was like a pillow mist or a rescue balm or a body oil that someone could rub on, and it's got lavender, it's got bergamot, it's got all of those luscious things on, which will essentially make them chill out. Coupled with our big luxury executive beds, they have a great stay. And that's essentially what they're reviewing, right? They're reviewing a great night's stay. So what can we provide those people to improve that great night's stay and then sell to them once they've gone home? So through my digital background, we can then, email them and target market them to be able to purchase through our e-commerce platform. So, and that we've tested that. It's improved the reviews, it's improved the spend, and now we're just essentially scaling it. We want more heads on beds and more products in people's hands. And essentially that's what we're doing now. We just want scale. So we prove it works.
Cool. So if anyone, so you obviously retail this stuff as well. So if anyone wanted to get some of these products as well, how would they reach out to you in order to do that?
Yeah, well, the best thing to do is just check out Millie's Organics. You'll see it all on the website there. My wife spun up a beautiful website. It's a lovely customer experience there. Just check it out. And essentially, we run an affiliate model. So for any other SA operative or hospitality business or boutique hotel would like to use Millie's Organics as welcome gifts to have an impact on reviews and their revenue, then we do run that as an affiliate scheme as well. So they'll get a kickback or a referral fee or a commission, however politically you want to put it, for every purchase thereafter. So it's not just about that in-stay experience. It's when they go home, when it's Christmas, gift sets. We've launched our gift sets. Our guests are going to be buying gift sets for other people. Bar mitzvahs, christenings, whatever. They're going to be buying gifts for other people. And that's what it's about.
Fantastic. So another thing that I wanted to ask you about, because this is something that people will find really useful in terms of not relying on the OTAs. And so you've approached agents, right? And because letting agents have always got people coming in saying, can I have a property for a month or 2 months, etc.
That's right.
So tell everyone how you have created a win-win situation with agents because of that very situation.
Yeah. So I suppose it was just a little bit of a eureka moment in the fact of I was always pitching serviced accommodation, and the agents didn't really know what was going on. But then, just being around and talking to people positioning their serviced accommodation as different things, I heard the term short-term let. And I was like, yeah, that's what we do. We can position that as a short-term let, and the estate agents get asked for short-term lets. So we obviously go to the estate agents with a beautiful pack and essentially ask them, do they do short-term lets? And they say yes or no. Typically no, because they know ASTs, and a 12-month AST is what they do. So the next question is, do they get asked for short-term lets? And it's invariably yes. So we set up a referral scheme. And during lockdown, it's been amazing because of people obviously being locked in their house, and a lot of people have done renovations. So that, they've sat in a room together and gone, all right, should we knock down that wall and build a bedroom? And they're like, yeah, all right, let's do that. Oh, we can't stay here at the same time. So they've actually come to stay with us. We've had 4-month booking, we've had a 2-month booking on renovations, and our estate agents get a nice little kickback. So I think it was about 12. I think it was 12 grand for it was a 16 grand booking for 4 months, and the estate agent got a nice little kickback of around about 900 quid. And they were like, well, yeah, that's fantastic. That's a nice little admin fee. And then obviously elegantly say, well, we're actually in the market for more rent to SA opportunities, please. And now we've got a pipeline of those as well.
Awesome. And so this has been going on during lockdown. We had to sort of lock down, and then, because this is one of the things that we spoke about, didn't we, about how to get bookings during the first lockdown was reaching out to letting agents and obviously offering them that type of scenario. But then we've had the time in between, haven't we? So we had the summer, the SA boom, the SA bounce, and then moving into winter, which traditionally, there's less demand for SA. Also, going into lockdown and all that type of stuff, a lot of people panic during these times, but they, because they're totally relying on the OTAs. But how have things been for you because of what you've been implementing? Has lockdown wiped you out, or have you been fine in your SA business?
Well, at the end of this month, during lockdown, we would have doubled our business. So from the beginning of lockdown to now, we would have doubled our business. Now, that sounds impressive, but it would have essentially, it's not a massive amount of numbers. I would. There was one thing I was going to actually say that as soon as I signed up for the training, I was like, right, I'm going to get 10 units in the next few months, and I'm going to, stop gigging and everything along those lines, and I'll be back on the farm with my family quite soon. But I didn't, it took me 6 months and 1 day to get that first one, and that. But it was just about, turning up and keep on doing the work.
But the reason for that was you were focusing on trying to convert agricultural buildings, weren't you? And doing
I was a little bit unfocused.
So don't get me wrong. We because I've been mentoring you as well, myself and Caroline, mentoring you and Jax. But we were exploring those avenues to start off with. You never say no, that's not going to work. But ultimately, the instant or the cash flow, the recurring income was there for you, which was go and get some rent to SAs, SA management, go and get that recurring income going. It took you a while to essentially park that. I mean, it's still there. It's still something for the future. But let's face it, the nearest crocodile was needed to be addressed, and that was to get some recurring income in. So you weren't totally relying on the commuting to London, right? So because a lot of people think, oh, well, it took him 6 months, then it's going to take me 6 months, but not necessarily. If you'd have walked straight away from the training and gone straight at rent to SA, you'd have been crunching it a lot sooner, right?
Yeah, it was my misconception as well. I wasn't in the position to be able to go and build those relationships with the estate agents because I was always in bloody London. I was in an office dealing with a load of bullshit politics. I wasn't being able to, design my own thing. I was on the train for an hour and a half trying to do my business. So that's why it took that long. I still got it there. That's all you needed to do. It was my naivety and my really about what I could actually achieve in that hour and a half that took that time. But all you have to do is commit to turning up, and this business will work. I hope I've been transparent and vulnerable enough to tell everybody there. I had my own issues about this. I had to get over that. I had some strongly held beliefs that were holding me back. But you work on yourself and you work on your business, and you get into good places.
Yeah, and you make a really good point in that some people they're busy and they decide they're too busy, but there's always some time that you can squeeze into those 24 hours, isn't there? And if it's important enough, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. And so if spending more time with the family and seeing the kids grow up is important enough, then you'll find a way. And you can gradually build up that recurring income from property, so you're not reliant on that job anymore. So that's a really important message there, because you were a very, very busy person, but you still managed to find time. Because I will never say that property investing is easy. And it as you know, it can be hard work, can be really hard work. But I firmly believe it's the best hard work that you can do.
Oh yeah.
Because if you can create that recurring income and start spending more time with your family because of that hard work, then hey, what's not to like, right?
Oh yeah, we've made loads of mistakes, but we've had so much fun doing it as well. And we've had some lovely times. It sounds weird to say, we've had some lovely time over COVID, where we've been able to have time with the family, and that was the whole point of the thing. That was the whole point of having a property management and a property development business, is to spend that time with the family. That was what it's always been about. So cool. I was never not going to turn up.
Yeah, no, you certainly do that, Scotty. Always good for morale as well when you do turn up, especially at our meetings and our mentoring sessions and all that. So the future. So you want to do more modular development projects. So you'd be looking for people that maybe got land or know of land that might be suitable, and so people could reach out to you about that. Presumably, anyone who property could maybe also reach out to you, say, would you want to manage my property for me? So now is your time. What is it you're looking for? Who should approach you?
Well, just going back on the call there, the first crocodile to sort out is I'm actively in the market to grow our rent to SA business and our management business. As I say, we want to hit scale now. We've got the team in place, we've got the systems in place, we've got the processes in place, we've got a great product, and we can repeat that. So I'm actively in the market to build some relationships, get more properties, and get more heads on beds and grow some revenue with some new partners. That's my key thing. Then, as a backdrop of that, I'm also obviously looking for land opportunities or commercial conversions would also work, or even car parks, or even on top of existing buildings where we can actually put these modular, eco-modular buildings on to do eco-serviced apartments. And the best thing about the car parking side of things is actually you retain the car parking space and the building goes above. So you can get into a model where you just lease the airspace. So all of the permitted development rights around leasing airspace now is opening up some really good opportunities there. Obviously, you got to get the finance right and make sure the area's right and do your due diligence. But there's lots and lots of potential there. Typically, our building solution it is looking for the hard bits to develop, where other people wouldn't develop, we can. So, it's very exciting times.
Awesome. And so people want to reach out to you. What would be your website, your email, your social media, just so that people know how to get in touch if any of this has piqued their interest and they want to know more?
Yeah, sure. Well, crack on and see freerangestays.com and Millie's organics.com. You'll be able to get through to myself or my beautiful wife about those products, and let's just have some chat. Farm gate's always open, and we'll have to socially distance and have a coffee and some cake, and we'll just see where it goes. Have some fun doing it. That's key philosophy for me. And
your social media, just Scotty Hodson.
Yeah, probably just look for Scotty Hodson. I'll start developing the Property Farmer brand over the next 12 to 24 months as we get a few things over the line. But yeah, or you can check out Property Farmer as well. You'll see some fun pictures on there.
Fantastic. Well, thanks very much for being interviewed today, Scotty. So like I say, this is going out live onto several different platforms, onto my YouTube channel. So my handle on my social media brand is Property Soldier. And so my Facebook, Property Soldier, and my YouTube channel, Property Soldier. It'll also go out as a recording into other Facebook groups as well, Progressive Property Facebook community group, and released as a podcast as well. So like I say, if anyone is, so lots and lots of people have commented. Quite often I can't see the names depending on where they are commenting. Lots of people commenting saying, great interview, thank you, love your work, Scotty, etc. Fowler, I can see her name, so she's done well done, Scotty. Millie's Organic sounds great. So many opportunities through SA. So we like Fowler. We know Fowler's been through the training as well, so we know Fowler very well. Lovely lady. And so I'm going to wrap up the interview now, unless you've got anything else to add, Scotty. It's been lots of fun.
No, well, just to extend my thanks to you. You've helped to redesign our life back to where it should be. So eternally grateful. And thanks for the opportunity to be on here. As I say, Farmgate's always open for well, you can be upgraded to beer and steak.
Yeah. Okay, Scotty. You take care, my friend. And for everybody listening and watching, here's to your serviced accommodation success. And remember, your future needs you. Take care.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.